Hello. Now, if you drink alcohol, be it a little or a lot, then this video is for you. I am going to share some top tips on the key things you need to look for when you are navigating the aisles in the supermarket for wine and beer, or if you visit the liquor store and are slightly confused about the crazy number of RTDs that are on the market. So first up, is sugar the thing you need to think about here? Not so much, particularly with wine and beer. I think sugar's got so much airtime that we often think it's the only thing to think about. But when it comes to wine, for example, a glass of wine, less than a teaspoon of sugar. It is not the sugar that is the problem here, okay? Beer, pretty much the same thing. So a normal beer, less than a teaspoon of sugar. Not the problem with the beer. The problem with these alcoholic drinks is they are high in calories, okay? Now, I haven't talked about calories a lot since 10 more years ago. Calories is not the focus of nutrition anymore. Looking at calories by itself is not enough, particularly when it comes to whole food. But when it comes to alcoholic drinks, it actually probably is the key thing to think about, because these don't have any good nutrients in them. The biggest thing that's going to impact on your waistline with alcoholic drinks is the number of calories in them, okay? And even the sugar is just extra calories that your body doesn't need, okay? So I would make the primary focus of your alcoholic drink choices, probably considering the energy content or the calorie content, and then obviously just being mindful, particularly the RTDs of the sugar, because that does actually push the calories up anyway. So why is that? It's because actually sugar is 4 calories per gram and alcohol is 7 calories per gram. So the higher the percentage alcohol a drink, the higher in calories it is. And if you're obviously having more calories than you need in a day, where's it going to go on your body? Somewhere extra that you don't want it to sit around, often around your middle, right? So that's probably the key thing that we need to think about. Higher percentage alcohol drinks tend to be higher in calories. So let's start off first by looking at beers. I am not, by the way, picking on any brands here. This is just what I picked up with my children yesterday when I was trying to buy things and they were screaming at my feet. There is all sorts of different brands to look at, and they do vary a little bit. But generally speaking with beer, okay, we do not need to worry about the sugar content really in beer. Not the key thing to think about. The higher the percentage alcohol of beer, the more calories, the worse the impact on your waistline, okay? So if you look at, we used to call a standard alcohol beer 4%, right? Not many beers are 4% anymore. Most of them, or a lot of them, particularly the crafty kind of beers, are getting up near 5, sometimes even 6%. Higher percentage alcohol, higher calories, okay? So your crafty beers, or the ones that are around about 5% alcohol, are about, in terms of calories, the same as about 1 3/4 to 2 slices of bread, okay, in terms of its energy content, impact on your waistline, okay? Which is quite a lot in one beer, isn't it, okay? But it's not the carbs that's really the problem with that. So it's just the calories, okay? So a beer has around 7 to 10 grams of carbohydrate in it, equivalent to 1/3 of an apple. Not that much carbs, to be fair. The lower carb ones have generally less than 2 grams of carbohydrate. So yes, they are lower in carbs, and the impact on the calories is fractional. So you're talking might be 1.5 to 1.25 slices of bread in some of those lower carb beers. It's a little bit less calories. Not significant. I do think people think that lower carb beers are somehow 3 times healthier. It's like normal beers here, water's over here, low carb beers, not even, teeny tiny bit lower in calories. Again, it's just a really clever thing to make you buy it because, in the marketing world of food, carbs are evil. They're not evil, it's just they're misunderstood. So if you want to get the lower calorie beer, you need to go for lower alcohol beer. Okay, so a lower alcohol beer is going to be nearer to 1 to 1.25 slices of bread in terms of its calorie content, or just drink less of the one that you like. So again, sometimes when people are swapping to the healthier version, it's just so that they can have more. Like sometimes it's just better to have 2 of the beers that you like than 3 of the beers that are lower in carbs, calories, whatever it is, and actually not enjoy them so much. So less is the way to go. Okay, so that's your beer scenario. I'll share the nutritional information on beers if you want to find out that. I'll put that in a link. Wine. So wine, again, one of the things is they used to call a standard percentage wine 12.5%, but this one is 14%, right? Okay, flipping heck, it's hard to find. Need my glasses on. 14%. So a lot of wines these days are actually quite high in the percentage of alcohol, which ends up meaning they're high in calories. So a glass of wine, roughly slice and half to 2 slices of bread in terms of calories. So, pretty equivalent, a standard glass of wine to a beer in terms of its calorie content. Obviously, people can have heavy pours of wine, and they can have heavy pours of beer. The higher the percentage wine, the more slices of bread that you're getting in there. There are low alcohol wines in the market, which is a good thing. So that gives you some options because they are definitely lower in calories. Do be aware of some of the alcohol-free wine's actually really good. That is very low in sugar and very low in calories. But like the grape juices, the sparkling grape juices, honestly, like grape ties, I think it's like just so many teaspoons of sugar and same kind of calories, if not more than wine. So sometimes when you're making those swaps to the non-alcoholic drinks, you've got to also check what you're buying. So the summary with beer and wine is it's the alcohol content that is the problem in terms of your waistline. If you drink wine out of a taller glass, you'll tend to find it makes you drink slower. And if you try and drink less, just make it less accessible is the main thing. RTDs, far out. The market is like ridiculously huge. I mean, I couldn't have bought them all. It was just, there were so many to buy. Okay, so your standard RTDs, the ones that used to exist when I was at university, which I can't even believe I used to drink, and they definitely didn't used to have the nutritional information panels on them. Far out. It's making a lot of sense about why I was a little bit bigger than I am now at university. I drank quite a lot of those RTDs, but a Smirnoff Ice, for example, is about, and there's a Smirnoff Ice and a Smirnoff Ice Black. You're talking equivalent to nearly 3.5 slices of bread, calorie content wise in those. 6-7 teaspoons of sugar in those drinks. Big, they are not good things to be drinking. So those kind of vodka cruiser, the traditional RTDs that we know are not great for us, they really are not great for you. So if you're having any of those traditional type RTDs or the sugary, the rum and cola-y type ones, they are going to be higher in calories than a beer or a glass of wine, definitely. Now, the newer RTDs on the market. So you've got, one of the ones is like your standard gin and tonic. Now, I'm not picking on this brand at all. They're pretty much very similar, the gin and tonic type scenario. So Tonic has 5.5 teaspoons of sugar in a cup in 250 mils. So of course, by default, that's actually higher in calories. So it's got the sugar in it, but because compared to water or sparkling water on its own, tonic is always going to have more calories and more sugar in it. This one here is 185 calories and 18.3 grams of sugar. So that is more than a glass of wine. It's more than a beer. And from an energy content, it's got more sugar in it as well. So with tonic water, there's also the big conversation about is diet tonic better? Well, neither diet tonic nor nor sugary tonic are good for you. Okay, so you're not going to get I wouldn't give you an answer being like, oh, definitely have this one, it's better for you. Neither are good for you. Okay, because you've got the sugar on the one hand in the normal tonic, and then you've got the artificial sweeteners on the other hand, which don't teach you to like less sweet tasting food. Also can have an impact on your gut microbiome. So weighing up that kind of thing. I tend to go for the diet tonic if I'm having it, because I know my toes are over the line anyway, and I don't want the sugar, and I don't drink that much of it. The key thing is really to remember you're drinking a carcinogen anyway. The mixer is kind of the least of your worries in terms of your risk to your health, not your waistline, to your cancer risk, because you're drinking something that causes cancer anyway. So neither is better for you. There are, there's all these different tonics on the market these days. They again vary in sugar content, but always going to be higher in sugar than standard plain sparkling water or soda. But that's just to be aware. So one normal gin and tonic, more calories than a wine, more calories than a beer. The rest of these here. Okay, the key thing to know is that when you see a drink that is gin and soda or vodka and soda, it is not necessarily the same as what you would make at home with just the gin, just the vodka and sparkling water or soda water, okay? Sometimes there's also sugar in there. And by adding sugar, it also adds calories, okay? So if you're buying any one and you just buy something that says sparkling soda or sparkling water, or soda, don't assume it's the same as what you make at home. They either sometimes add apple juice to them to make them sweeter, or a little bit of sugar, which obviously then increases the calories. Okay, so let's take an example. This one here is one of the lowest sugar and the lowest calorie on the market. There are some brands again that are equivalent to this. This is not a promotion for this brand. It's just explaining the difference. So this is only 66 calories and no sugar. So this is the nearest that you're going to get to something that you would make at home, which is standard spirit with plain soda. And you can taste it. I mean, it's dry. It's not even remotely sweet. Then you've got like this one here, which is Smirnoff lime and soda. So it's easy to think that that's the same as that. Also this one, so this is gin, cucumber and soda, delicious, but it would be easy to think that these are the same because they're all clear. They're not, okay? So this one here is 130 calories. What's the units on that? That's 1 unit in there. And that is far out. You honestly, that's 1.1 units of alcohol. So given that's a high volume, they're probably the same. But that's 130 calories. 66, 130. Double, right? It's because it says fruit extract. It doesn't actually say that I can see that it's got sugar in it, but that must be something that's slightly sweet in there because it's got 11.9 grams of sugar. So there's some sweetener in there, some sugary, probably juice in there that's actually increasing the sugar content and therefore increasing the calorie content. This one here, slightly lower, so it's 128 calories, 8 grams of sugar, so that's 2 teaspoons of sugar in there. So the soda has got a little bit of sugar in it as well. This one here is it's a very clever brand name, isn't it? Clean, no sugar, no carbs, no preservatives, all natural. Does have a sweetener in it though. So, that is, it's got erythritol in it. It is only 86 calories, so that's getting nearer to that end there. But you can actually definitely taste the sweetener in it, but no sugar. That's equivalent to 1.2 alcohol. This was interesting. I put this up yesterday. These guys do all sorts of gin and tonics and various different things. This one has got 2.3 grams of sugar, so that's half a teaspoon. But you wouldn't know this from looking at it. You'd be like, oh yeah, it looks like a vodka and soda. The reason why it's so low in calories, it's only 44 calories. That's probably actually the lowest one that I found. But it's only 2.5% alcohol. So that's like half a unit in this bottle, whereas this is 1 unit. So it's the alcohol percentage that's having one of the biggest impacts in these drinks. So you can't just consider the sugar. It's actually also considering the alcohol. This is an example of showing that you don't have to have nutritional information on the panel. It's not a legal requirement to have nutritional information on the panel. This one, water, vodka, sugar, hard to tell. I don't know what the calorie content of that is, but it's probably nearer the 150 from a guess. This is a lot of these canned ones. There's a huge number of canned ones on the market. 125 calories, sugar 7.7, so that's nearly 2 teaspoons of sugar in there. That's because the second ingredient is apple juice. Okay, so they're sweetening it with apple juice. I mean, it's clever. They've done, you know, what they've done in this market to try and not use white sugar is interesting. But it's, I guess, just, you know, summary of that. They're not, if you just go and buy vodka and soda or gin and soda, it's not necessarily lower in calories than wine. It can be, or, you know, not. So if we have our glass of wine here, that's probably far out, it's probably about 130, 150 calories. It depends, obviously, on the percent. Let's call it 130 calories, right? So this is 86, this is 130, it's pretty similar. This is 125, that's pretty similar. That's less, this is way less because it's lower in alcohol, probably pretty similar. You know, probably here type situation. Okay, hard to tell because they all vary so much, but it's not that they're standardly all lower in calories than wine. I think the main thing with these is, do you know, sometimes I think it's just about drinking a little bit of what you like and actually having less of it. But definitely do check the back of the labels, and remember that with these RTDs, it's both sugar and alcohol that's going to impact on the calorie content of them. I mean, the main thing is that we want to try and reduce the amount of alcohol that we're having. I mean, I love a drink as much as anyone else. I am British to the core. My friends know me. I am, you know, I drink. But it's just, again, being aware of what you're buying. And also, you know, every alcoholic drink does increase your risk of cancer, so particularly breast cancer, and that's something definitely to be aware of. So the guidelines are to keep to less than 2 units a day as a female, less than 10 units over a week, and at least 2 alcohol-free days. For guys, it's less than 3 units a day, less than 15 over a week, and at least 2 alcohol-free days. So yeah, I hope that helps. That's just a couple of things to think about with alcohol. These big topics and lot to talk through. Again, not picking on any of these brands. There's lots of other options out there, but it is important to check what you are buying. So good luck. If you like these videos, let me know what else you'd like me to cover, and I will definitely do more. Have a fab day.